Welcome back to the Mountain Man Medical YouTube channel. Thanks for hanging out. In today's video, we're going to talk about why you should never trust a moose. I know they look friendly and cute and delicious, but you can't trust them. They'll mess you up. We'll talk about that next. Before we get into the video, do me a huge favor. Go down below, hit the like and subscribe. That's a free way to support me here at the channel. So if you learned something, you like the video, great way to help me out. So when I was 19, me and my wife and her siblings, they're all younger than her, we decided to go out on the trail, go camping up at Red Feather Lakes. It's a great area. If you've never been there before, highly recommend it. It's a beautiful, beautiful spot. So we go up there and we're doing some camping. We decided to go out on a hike. So we go out on this hike. I'm 19 years old, but I'm prepared. I got a Ruger P89 9mm, double single action. I got it in a Uncle Mike's holster, of course. And so we go out on this trail. And so her siblings, she's got 2 brothers and 2 sisters. They run up ahead and we're kind of like walking up the trail. And after a little bit, Luke comes back and he's like, "Hey, there's a moose up in the meadow." And I was like, "Oh, cool. Let's go look at it." He's like, yeah. Laban's trying to see how close he can get to it. And I was like, "Wait, what? That's not a good idea." So when I was a kid, I read this book called Hatchet, and it was about this, I think he was like 13. He crashes in this plane and has to survive in the Canadian wilderness all alone. And all he has is his only tool is this hatchet that his mom gave him as a going away present. And so in this book, he gets attacked by a moose. So I knew from that book that, moose are nothing to mess around with. So I go running up this hill and yep, there's Laban. He's 14 and he is sneaking his way closer and closer to this moose. And it was a cow moose and she was just sitting there right there at this tree line, just watching Laban just like sneak up, like totally knew he was there, just interested, ears up, looking, paying attention. And he was getting closer and closer and closer. Didn't look like she was very worried at all. And so I go up there and I'm like, "Laban, get over here." And he's like, looks back at me and he's like, "Brian, look how close I'm getting." I'm like, "Yeah, you're getting really close there, bud. Why don't you come on back?" And he's like, No, I'm going to see how close I can get first. I was like, "Laban, he's going to do a Mexican hat dance on your head. Get your ass back here." So I finally get him talked into coming back. And then after a while, the moose just kind of like trundles off. It disappears into the tree line. So then after that was my first chance to give my very first moose safety brief. And now I'm extending it to you. So here's some things you need to think about moose. They can be kind of dangerous. Everybody's getting out. It's now spring, time to be in the mountains and doing some fun stuff. This is a great time to go out and see some of that wildlife. But there's some things you got to think about when you go out to the woods. If you come across a moose, don't be like these people.
Так, девочки, пойдем потихоньку. Топ-топ со всеми. Почему он у нас вот такой?
Он любит музыку.
Так он маленький еще. Рожки тонкие, только начали расти. О! Так, все. Оп! Все, пошел отсюда!
All right, so we got some moose facts for you here. They can weigh over 1,000 pounds, run 35 miles an hour, and they are more aggressive when they have calves in the area, especially the females. So if you get in between a mother and her calves, that's a bad day. And then the males can be also more aggressive during the rut. They also have a parasite that can infect their brain and cause them to act erratically. They'll walk around in circles and then they'll be especially aggressive in attack. So moose, they're pretty upset most of the year. So if you come across a moose, just go ahead and think to yourself that moose is probably pissed off about something and you should probably leave them alone. All right, let's talk about some things that you don't do around moose. 1, you don't get close to them because they will mess you up. 2, make sure you don't feed them. When I was a kid, one of my favorite books was If You Give a Moose a Muffin. And the whole premise of the book is you give a moose a muffin, he's going to want some jelly to go on it. And if you give him some jelly, he's going to want a sweater. And that sweater is going to remind him of sock puppets. And, it's this great book. It was one of my favorites as a kid. But you don't feed moose. That's a horrible example to give to kids, you know, you go out and you feed the moose. It seems like a nice friendly moose. Not a big deal, right? Moose love food. You want to give them some food. It's a great day. The problem is when the moose starts to associate people with food. And then when you don't have food, then they get pissed off about it and they become very entitled. They're like, where's my food, bitch? And then you don't have that food, and then they get really upset about it and they can attack. So they can attack for no good reason whatsoever. They're wild animals. You should treat them like they're wild animals, and they're unpredictable because they are. So don't feed them. Don't get close for selfies. And the last thing that you want to make sure that you're doing is keeping your dog on a leash. Moose hate wolves. They eat their calves. So they will not like your dog. And any good dog worth his salt is going to go up there and be barking away at this gigantic moose. So I get it. Your dogs are going to do that. But the problem is that dog starts barking at the moose gets pissed off about it and starts going after the dog. Now, then what's the dog do? He's going to run back to you for safety and bring 1,000 pounds of thundering fur along behind it. So make sure that you're keeping your dog on a leash. Don't be letting that dog go up and bark at a moose. The moose will not appreciate it and will not react kindly. So keep that in mind. So if you don't listen to any of my advice and you happen to be watching this YouTube video as this moose is attacking you, then something that you might want to do is just drop and cover your vital organs in your head. The moose is just going to stomp on you. They don't try to gore people, so there's not a big risk of puncture wounds when it comes to antlers or anything like that. They'll just tend to stomp on you. They'll beat on you for a little bit, kind of determine whether or not you know where you stand in the forest hierarchy. You know, they kind of put you in your place, you know, and told you, you know, you need to back off. They probably won't try to kill you, but they will stomp on you quite a bit. So here are some things that you might need to pay attention to for treating the injuries of a moose attack. So you're probably not going to get any puncture wounds. They don't try to gore you or anything with antlers. It's just going to stomp on you a little bit. So, but you might have fractures, punctured lungs from rib fractures. You could have lacerations, scrapes, of course, abrasions and bruises and that kind of thing. So if you have a trauma kit on you, some of the things that you might need is going to be maybe a splint of some kind. The Rise Splint by TacMed Solution is excellent splint. Very, very packable, very lightweight and usable for a lot of different things. They also have your moldable aluminum, soft padded splints, kind of like what you would see with the Sam splint. Those are good options. They're a little more bulky, so it's a little more difficult to carry in your kit. So my top recommendation is definitely going to be the TacMed Rise Splint. If you're going to try to treat fractures out in the woods, you want something packable and portable. So we're not going to be too worried about lacerations or puncture wounds, so bleeding control probably isn't going to be high on that list, but we still want to have that stuff available to us whenever we're out in the woods anyway. So have that in there, have a tourniquet, some hemostatic agent, and some gauze and that kind of thing. The other thing that you're definitely going to want to have is something kind of like an elastic bandage. This is like your ACE wraps. These are a way of treating those sports injuries, strains, sprains. Helps to kind of keep some gauze in place. If you're bleeding a little bit from that moose attack, then you might be able to treat that bleeding more effectively if you've got an elastic bandage to help wrap everything up. Where is my Rise Splint? I got a tactical crike kit though. Tactical crike kit. Tactical cricothyroidotomy kit. Who knows how to use that? Huh? Needle decompression? No, it's a saline lock kit. This hemostatic, oh, just fell right off. This hemostatic bandage is amazing. This is the Hemcom Chiro Pro, the Olias modular pressure bandage. It's really good. Another item that might be beneficial for you is a triangular bandage or a cravat. This is kind of one of those multi-purpose items. It's always nice to have your kit stocked up with items that help to add to the redundancy. So you can use this to make an improvised tourniquet if you needed to. I would prefer you carry like a cat tourniquet or a soft T, but this would work in a pinch if you needed extra. It's kind of wide enough and you can kind of fashion your own makeshift splint that way. But you can also open this up and turn this into a sling or an extra wound packing or an extra bandage or just a bunch of different things. Very beneficial to have one of these in your kit. Packs down pretty easily and that doesn't take up a whole lot of space, and you can use it for a bunch of different things. So cravat, triangular bandage, good option. I do have one. Ha! This is the Rise Splint, packs down nice and neat. If you can vacuum seal these, it gets even smaller and it just packs down super clean and easy. Very lightweight, made of some sort of space age plastic or something. Really well engineered, great product from TacMed Solutions. All right, guys, that's all I got for you. Thanks for hanging out and checking out this video on moose safety. Moose are out there and they are jerks. They will not be kind to you, so don't be kind to them. Admire them from a distance. Don't try to feed them. Don't try to take selfies. Keep your dog on a leash. Duck and cover if you don't pay attention to any of that. Protect your vital organs and be able to treat the trauma when it happens. I appreciate everybody sticking it out. If you need a trauma kit, head over to mountainmanmedical.com. Check out our Yellowstone and Wind River trauma kits. All the items that I described in this video are there on the website. So if you need any of this stuff, go pick yourself up one. Check out our Yellowstone and Tracker trauma kits. Be ready for whatever the mountain throws at you. I'll catch you guys in the next one. So you want to have some things on hand for that. I would recommend to have something like